shock development amid the search for missing 4-year-old boy Gus Lamont, who vanished from his family's remote Mid-North property more than 4 months ago. Police had already declared the disappearance a major crime, and now they've arrested one of his grandparents on an unrelated gun charge.
Trackers and Star Group officers were involved in that search, but unfortunately there was no trace of little Gus and the footprint was eventually ruled out.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear thoughts build up until I can't. My mind fills up into a creature and it haunts me somewhere much deeper. I got nightmares in my head, I fear.
Ushered by officers out the back of Peterborough Police Station in SA's Mid-North, Gus Lamont's grandparent, Josie Murray, after just being arrested. The 75-year-old charged with a firearms offence unrelated to Gus's disappearance, then granted bail and allowed to drive home.
Well, there you have it. According to The Guardian, police said on Monday that they had arrested a 75-year-old from Grampus and charged them with firearm offences. Note, they're still not even mentioning names. The charges are as a result of a previous search at Oak Park Station, Gus's home, but are not related to Gus's disappearance or a previous incident at the property involving the media, police said. Wow. So the Daily Mail reported in October that one of Gus's grandmothers waved a gun while one of their reporters was there. Police reportedly said the reporter was on private property without permission and that the gun was to dispatch a snake. The person has been bailed, again, not referring to the person by name. Obviously, a lot of sensitivity about legal issues here. And that person, Gus's grandparent, will appear at the Peterborough Magistrates Court in May. That's in about 2 or 3 months' time. Now, while I thought at the beginning that it's not clear if the charges relate directly to Snakegate, that firearm incident on the porch, and that firearm, well, I think that has been actually clarified, that it relates to some other firearm or firearms that were possibly kept on the property, perhaps without a license. What is clear is that the cops aren't messing around anymore. This is an effort to use leverage and also perhaps to try to separate the one grandparent from the other. I also think it is about pressure. Is someone going to crack in this case?
The grandparents spent more than an hour at the police station, all while major crime detectives made their way onto the family's remote sheep station, where little Gus Lamont vanished in September last year.
So you have a kind of when the cat's away, the mice will play scenario, except it's arguably an inverted scenario of that, of when the mice is away or when the mouse is away, the cats will play. Because we know that someone has withdrawn their cooperation, in this case, any guesses who, and it appears a search went on at the property that coincided with that someone's arrest. So while that person was away, the cops came in, probably with a warrant, but they probably didn't want this person looking at what they were doing. And so I guess it's a case of hitting two birds with one stone. Possibly during this search, they probably also had the access to the other grandparent and possibly got that person to chaperone them through the site and give their statement without that process being managed by this other kind of more domineering personality. Does that make sense? Now, again, according to The Guardian, earlier in the day, police said that they had returned to Oak Park Station to continue searching for evidence after identifying a suspect in his disappearance. The search was expected to continue on Tuesday. So that search has taken place today and will continue tomorrow. Now, according to The Sun, police have now launched a renewed search expected to continue for at least 2 days. Members attached to Task Force Horizon have returned to Oak Park Station to continue the search for evidence. It is anticipated that Task Force Horizon detectives will remain in the area for at least the next 2 days. Now, what this may indicate is a renewed effort to search for Gus, basically in the last place anyone thought to look, but what really ought to have been the first place, the homestead. Well, that remains to be confirmed. We will see whether that is the case, whether there are preferred additional areas that they want to look at. It also remains to be seen whether they will have dogs on the property, dogs on the scene. And so the real question is, are they going to find anything this time? Or has Gus been simply too cleverly hidden? Or is he hidden somewhere else entirely, somewhere perhaps bordering the property? Well, time will tell.
This is the first time investigators have been back to the Outback homestead since they declared the disappearance of Gus a major crime. The team sweeping the property for evidence throughout the day. Gus's other grandparent, Shannon Murray, seen with police as they searched different parts of the vast sheep station, including in shearing sheds and under various items.
And I think a very real scenario that presents itself here is if you have thousands of animals on your property, many of them probably do die. What do you do with their little corpses? Is there sort of a burial ground? But what typically is done with these bodies? And if something is done, isn't someone going to have experience dealing with basically disposing with certain remains?
Only a fortnight ago, police revealed they no longer believe Gus simply wandered off or was abducted by a stranger, and that they now have a suspect, a person who lived with Gus at the family's homestead that is not either of the missing 4-year-old's parents.
So what do you guys think? Are we about to see a breakthrough in this case? And is there going to be a split between these grandparents, or is their bond rock solid?
Grandparents Josie and Shannon Murray have since hired separate lawyers. A written statement is all we've ever received from the grandparents, saying they'd cooperated with police and wanted desperately to see Gus reunited with his mum and dad.
But of course, Gus's mum and dad are nowhere to be seen. And what has been very unusual with this case is that one image of Gus, only one, has ever been released. And that does stand in stark contrast to the other missing cases that we've dealt with. Nancy Guthrie right now, Madeleine McCann, John Benet Ramsey, how many pictures we've seen of those people, how those cases have been totally different to this one. In any event, we wish the investigators all the best for their search on Tuesday. I'm not going to take it further than that. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys next time.